Welcome back, it's me, Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today we are looking at something a little bit different. We are looking at this, the Marvel Avengers Hulkbuster. And this is produced by Jada Toys, and what makes this piece very unique and different from previous Hulkbusters I've reviewed is that this one is 100% die-cast metal. So if you're unfamiliar with Jada Toys, they make a lot of, they don't make necessarily action figures. They kind of make those small, 2-inch figurines. You might have seen them at, Targets or Walmarts. They're 100% die-cast metal. They're small, miniature 2-inch figures. They're not articulated. They make figures from various properties such as Harry Potter, DC Comics, Marvel Comics, you name it. They've probably built it. I think they even have they've dabbled in Dungeons and Dragons. I've actually bought a couple of those, and they're fun. They're unique. They're kind of a cool throwback to the '80s when a lot of the toys we got were die-cast metal. If you grew up during the '80s, you probably had some of those small 2-inch metal Star Wars figures that kind of made, and they kind of had cool play sets. So it's kind of a cool callback to that, and I really appreciate it. And Jada Toys, they make some other things too. They make die-cast cars, and I actually have a small collection of those also. I collect their die-cast cars from the Fast and Furious movies, and they're really detailed, and it's awesome. They make almost every car from every movie. It's really cool. But today we're going to focus on this, the Marvel Avengers Hulkbuster. And it's 100% die-cast. This thing is about maybe 6 inches tall. And as you can see, the proportions are very exaggerated. They're very cartoony. It's very chibi, kawaii. This thing, it's like a heavy brick. It feels really heavy. It has a nice metallic finish. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. Alright, so let's get started. First off, let's look at the package. Now, this is a very, very eye-catching figure. I think I've only seen it once on the shelves at Target. This one I bought, I happened to find online on Amazon. I want to say I might have paid anywhere between $25 to $27 for it. And for me, that was I thought that was a great asking price, just because it's very solid. It's die-cast metal. I mean, just holding it right now, this feels like something that's easily $35 to $40. I'm not 100% sure what the suggested retail price is, but for me, $27 seemed like a sweet spot, and I had no problem pulling the trigger on it. The box is beautiful. It's maybe about, I want to say 9 to 10 inches square, I think. You have the Jada Toys logo up in the corner. This is suggested for ages 8 and up. Although I don't know which 8-year-old is strong enough to hold something this heavy. It really is kind of heavy. Excuse me. All right, so in the upper left corner, it kind of shows one of the play features. So the cool thing about this is you can actually take this small Iron Man figure that it comes with, and then the dome of his head opens up, and you can place him inside, which I think is awesome. There's not enough Hulkbuster figures on the market that allows you to actually put an Iron Man figure inside of it. We have a couple of Marvel Legends Hulkbusters, but none of them allow you to actually open up the suit and drop the figure inside, which I think is a must. You need to be able. That's the whole purpose of the Hulkbuster. It's an additional armor that goes over Iron Man, and it always kind of bothers me when they release a new Hulkbuster figure, but it's just a giant figure without any play feature to actually insert Iron Man inside of it. But here they actually give that to you, which I think is great. The window frames the figure perfectly. You really see everything that you're getting. It's a bright metallic finish on the figure, and it's contrasted by this orange backdrop. We have the Marvel Avengers logo, and in here, it's kind of like a metallic hollow finish. It says Metal Figs, which this thing is. It's the Hulkbuster, and I believe this is based off of the Age of Ultron Hulkbuster design. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it's based off of. And here it is to remind you, it's 100% die-cast. Nothing really on the side of the box other than the window extends more. On the back, we have this is a nice, beautiful shot of the Hulkbuster. And it tells you right here, he's 6.5 inches tall. And the Iron Man figure is 2.5 inches. It's really cool. It's kind of neat how Jada Toys, you know, that they really want to emphasize that this is a die-cast figure. So you see it in all the branding, like the metal figs here, even the trim on the top where the title bar is. It's kind of like this metal finish. The figure itself is placed against a metal plate. You know, they really want to like send that message home that what you're getting is going to be a metal figure. And I'm excited. Let's take this guy out. Alright, this is taking a little bit longer than expected. There's a little bit more tape on the top of the box than I thought. It really feels like that the cardboard tray doesn't want to come out. Alright, there we go. It's freed from his prison. Okay, first impressions while it's still in the plastic tray. I've said this before, it's heavy. This is a heavy... I don't know what 8-year-old would want something this heavy. It seems like if an 8-year-old was playing with this and accidentally dropped it on like their baby brother or sister, it could be like, I don't know. It's heavy. It really... Wow. There's some serious weight on this. Like, you could take this, and I'm sure if you did, like, curls, like 3 sets of 10 every day, you'd, like, get all swole. But, I don't know, that just says something about the quality of the figure. I think it's fabulous that they're giving you this wonderful die-cast Hulkbuster. I'm at a loss of words. It's cool. The finish is nice. The paint job isn't the greatest in certain areas. It looks like in some spots like here it falls short or it's not as crisp as it could be. But from a distance, everything looks beautiful. If you're a nitpicker, some of the, you know, little kind of, you know, miscalculations of where the paint supply might bother you, but it's really nice. My big concern with this figure though is that even though this is metal and it's painted, you know, how well is the paint adhering to the metal? Is this something that's going to flake off, or is it going to chip easily? I don't know. I think only time will tell. But I'm just looking at it from, you know, while it's still in this plastic tray. I'm very impressed. I mean, for the most part, I collect a lot of, like, this normal kind of, like, plastic action figures, like Marvel Legends, Marvel Select, and things like that. But it's really cool to, like, venture out and get something a little bit more different and unique like this guy. And let's get this open. A lot of ties, a lot of ties. As I've stated previously, I think I've only seen this in the stores once. So I don't know how readily available he is. I saw him on Amazon, and when I saw him for the price that he was going for, I had no problem pulling the trigger on it. I think it's a steal for $27, and just the fact that it's this crazy metal and it feels heavy and it looks quality. I am very, very excited to check this out. Man, wow! I can't say this enough. This is heavy. This is a heavy figure. Alright, we'll take a look at this little guy in a second, but for now, let me get Let me get this guy in frame. Yeah, this is... Oh my god. I don't know if this guy's articulated or not. I don't think this is articulated. Alright, so the legs are definitely not articulated. The arms look like they're a separate piece from the body, but I don't think they move. Or do they? This one nudged a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's just the nature of how the figure's constructed. Like maybe it's loosely fitted, it's not like a solid fit, but it doesn't seem to want to spin, nor am I going to force it to like move when I'm not even sure if it's supposed to. Because I have a feeling that if I try to force it to, it's going to start scraping paint off. And I don't think that's... I think articulation's not something this guy's going to be known for, other than just being able to lift up his helmet. Wow. Now alright, so they say this thing's 100% die-cast, which I'm kind of believing, but I don't know if the hinge here that holds this helmet onto the body is plastic or die-cast. It might be die-cast. But, oh my god, this is wonderful. It's nice, it's big, it's heavy, the metallic finish is beautiful. As I've mentioned previously, there's a little kind of like little splotches of the paint in certain areas, but it's not enough for me to like say, oh, this is gonna be crap. You know, it's awesome. I mean, this isn't gonna compete with like something crazy like maybe like a Sideshow or Hot Toys Hulkbuster, but for 27 bucks, you really can't go wrong for something like this. This is really neat too. This guy is kind of hefty also. So this guy stands at 6.5 inches tall. This guy's 2.5 inches. Let's start off with Iron Man first. So we have this little cool chibi Iron Man. He has the exaggerated larger head. Likewise, I don't think this guy's articulated also. Jada Toys are not known for making action figures. They're known more so for making miniatures and figurines. And figurines aren't necessarily going to be articulated. This guy is kind of in a very static, neutral pose. Just, you know, chest out, shoulders back. The metallic finish on him is nice. It's clean. There's a brilliant sheen on this. And it's heavy. It feels like, I don't know, it's just heavy. I wanted to say it almost feels like a golf ball or something, but a little bit heavier. Very solid miniature figure. And let's get to the main event. Let's look at this guy. Whoa. This is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the exaggerated proportions of this. You know, if you're not up for something more cartoony and, you know, super deformed or chibi-like, this is probably going to annoy you, but I love it. I love... This isn't, you know, this is not made for... I didn't get this to replace, you know, like a Marvel Legends Hulkbuster. For me, this is kind of more so... I'm a fan of the Hulkbuster, and to get him in a different form and from a different company, it's so cool. That's so cool too. The fact that it's die-cast, and when you not slam, but when you close the helmet, you hear and feel the sounds of the metal. That's so cool. But over time, I have a feeling if you keep on doing this, and depending on how hard you do it, there's the possibility that you will chip the paint on the rim of the helmet. So just be gentle. The detail is nice. The sculpting, the cuts aren't as deep as I'd like. So the sculpted in details are a little bit on the softer side, but the raised, relieved details are kind of embossed. They feel a little bit, a little bit crisper. And it looks like, for the most part, all of the details are kind of I mean, not necessarily like, this isn't going to be a one-to-one accurate representation of what you see on film, but it seems like all the key landmark features are accounted for on the costume. The side plates on the forearms, the shoulders. It's really cool. Really cool, really heavy, nice, beautiful metallic finish. The head. You have the eyes. As I stated earlier, the helmet goes up, and there's that. This is how it connects. So there's a joint on the inside, and there's this hinge. There's no detail sculpted on the inside of the helmet, and on very, very little on the inside. You have some details sculpted where the back of the chair is, and almost kind of like where the rim meets the chest. There's some sculpted details here. Nice, satisfying when it closes. It kind of like, you hear that metal, and it's like, wow, that's awesome. There's the arc reactor. And as I've stated previously, I don't think the arms are meant to move. They kind of jostle a little bit, but I think that's just the nature of how the thing is constructed. I don't think it's intended for this to like actually rotate or swivel. These metal plates on his arm, they're metal also. They look like they're plugged into these sockets. Possibly, I want to say I think they're screwed in. Yeah, screwed in. On the back, there's the thrusters. So what I'm guessing is that the way this guy's constructed, it looks like he's assembled and held together by screws. If you look close enough, you'll see there's areas where the screws are inserted, but they covered up the screws with these covers. If you can see it right here, there's a kind of like circle screw cover that covers where the screw is. There's one cover here, one here, one in the middle of the spine, one on the upper thigh here, and here, and here, and here. So I'm thinking that if you wanted to, not that I'd suggest it because I think you'd scratch the paint, but if you're curious about it, it seems like you could probably pop these screw covers off and unscrew and disassemble this guy. And you can kind of see where the screws are here on the forearm. Since these are the inside, I think they didn't bother trying to cover them up. So there's screws here near the fist, screws here on the inside bicep. Yeah, this would be a great figure to customize. You know, if you had the know-how and the confidence to disassemble this and repaint them, maybe even drill out some holes. Maybe this is something that I think is very doable in terms of like adding, if you're a customizer, if you want to add LEDs to this, I think it's possible. You know, you probably have to disassemble them, find out an area where you could possibly house the wiring and the LEDs and the battery pack. You know, maybe like even figure out a way to do a switch. And I think you could easily light something like this up, which would look amazing. Yeah, so this is a brilliant figure. Oh my god, I love this a lot. And let's take a look at the play feature. So his dome opens up, and you can easily just slot this guy in. And it's one of those things too, since this guy's die-cast also, my big worry is that if you keep on, you know, especially for a child, my big worry is that if you keep on placing this guy inside and taking him in and out, or even if you just left him in long term and just handled this, my fear is that over time, you know, you might get paint chipping from this guy jostling around. But I can't believe that I get a cool little Iron Man, you know, miniature figure, and he gets to wear this cool Hulkbuster. Yeah, so that's cool. This is really cool. All right, let's talk numbers. So if I had to rate this guy numerically, my first impression was to say a 9, but as I always say, I think that'd be a little over generous. But to be fair, the paint job isn't perfect. They're unclear. I mean, it's unclear if you've never handled one of these before. It's kind of unclear on whether or not you're supposed to move these arms. And I have a feeling there's going to be someone that's going to buy this and think, "Oh, this arm kind of jostles a little. Let me see if I can move it." And they'll move it, and then they'll scratch the paint. So realistically speaking, I'd probably rate this anywhere between, for as much as I love it, I'd probably rate it anywhere between a 7.5 to an 8. It's beautiful. It's well worth the money if you can find it at the retail price. I'm not sure if what I paid was retail, but for me, $27 seemed very, very reasonable for this. It's metal, it's die cast, it's really heavy, and the fact that I could put Iron Man inside of them is even, oh man, that's awesome. That's what I really wanted. So yeah, let's wrap this up. Once again, my name is Lou. Thank you very much for checking out this video on this Jada Toys Marvel Avengers Hulkbuster. It's cool. It's 6.5 inches tall. It's beautiful. If you're a big fan of Iron Man, if you're a big fan of the Hulkbuster, and if you want to add something a little bit different to your collection, go for it. I can't speak enough about this. It impresses me to no end. So thanks again for checking out my video. Feel free to drop by anytime. Take care.